to life. Inner circles here where voices thrive. Turn on your screens, let the magic unfold. Listening and healing as stories are told. Come on, come on, this is your time. No topics too tough, just heed the call. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. Inner Circle podcast where hearts unite. Sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light. Community strong, we're never alone. Together as one, we've created a home. With laughter and love, we break down the walls. No topics too tough, just heed the call. From mental health woes to justice we seek. Together we rise for the strong and the meek. A safe space for all, let's lift every voice. So join the conversation, let's set the tone. In a circle podcast where love is well known.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Inner Circle podcast, where we amplify voices, empower communities, and elevate ideas. Tonight, we take a moment to reflect on a powerful question: what role does faith play in building or breaking communities? In a world often feels fractured by politics, right, pain, and polarization, many are asking, where is faith in all of this? Is it still a unifying force? Has it lost his voice in the noise? Tonight, we'll lay into this conversation with open hearts and curious minds. So let's dive in. I'm your host, Abe Kamara. I'm joined by two great panelists. Tonight is Tuesday, is our regular segment where we come in here and just discuss something that impacts our community. So we amplify voices, empower our communities, and elevate conversations. So we hope you can join us tonight. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Wherever you get your podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, renting, wherever, man. There's a growing community. We hope you can be part of this as we join in together. So I'll go around the room, introduce our panelists quick, and we'll jump into this great topic. So Peterson from the windy city of Chicago.
Good evening, everyone. This is Peterson from the great city of Chicago, Windy City, where the weather is very bipolar. It was hot last week, and this week we had to put out the winter jackets again for the kids, especially. So welcome to the show, everybody. Your contribution is welcome, and let's have a great discussion.
Titus.
Yes, sir. Peterson, it seems this is a common Midwest trait because you're talking about bipolar and we over here in Minnesota. So imagine we had a great couple of days of weather recently, and then yesterday it's been cold and it's rainy, and today's been the same. I'm like, yeah, this is depressing, you know. But I'm glad to be here tonight. Abe, thanks for having me. Thanks to the Inner Circle podcast for availing us this opportunity to, just come here, share and learn as well, and interact with our people within our community. Thank you.
That's great. That's great. So, folks, like I said, the topic on the discussion tonight is the role of faith in building communities. I mean, we live in a world right now. The question is faith even building community or is it breaking it apart? And with the secular nature of society these days, so we're going to dive into this, and hopefully you can join the conversation as well. So Peterson, I will start with you. What role has faith, if any, play in your life, in your journey? How do you are you has faith played any role in your journey? And if so, what role has it played?
Yeah, so faith has impacted my journey, like throughout my life, and it's played a very important role as far as decisions that I've made. Some of them were dependent on my faith. So if I go into a new environment, for example, I'm usually going to try to find people who practice the same faith or who have the same belief as me, and uh, those are the people that I will interact with most times. And but I mean, it depends on who you ask. If it
Mhm. Yeah.
community, if it breaks it down, so each person have their own view of that. But to me, it builds, but it's not the only thing that builds community.
Okay. 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 That's good. That's good. Well, I was saying, welcome to the show. Give you the opportunity to introduce yourself, and then we'll dive into it.
Good evening, man. Good evening, Tatos. Good evening, Peterson. Good evening, AB. And folks watching us, man, I'd like to say good evening to you. We hope that you stick with us, and thanks for always being here, man. This platform is yours, and it's always a good time being here. It's always a good time being here.
Yeah. Thank you, Sam. Thank you. So, Titus, I'll go to you. Do you have faith, and what role has faith played in your life journey?
He said, "Do you have faith?" That's a good question, man. Yes, I am a man of faith. More so, would like to think of myself as a spiritual being. You know,
Mm, okay.
not the religious kind.
Okay.
I've had both sides of the coin. I've
Mm,
seen and experienced both sides of what faith does positively and negatively. And
okay.
hopefully tonight we'll use this platform to espouse, some of those experiences and knowledge that we have about faith. But
Okay.
yes,
Sure.
it has been present in the positive. It has been present in the negative as well. Um,
Okay.
how do we weigh this out and how it has impact our communities more
Sure.
is yet to be discussed tonight.
Okay. Sam, when you hear the word faith, what comes to mind for you, right? It's like, I mean, like Tada was saying, it's like, there's religion, there's spirituality, or it might be something else. But for you, what comes to mind?
Well, faith. It's what comes to mind for me is what grounds me, right? What
Okay.
keeps me going? What keeps me
Yeah.
connected?
Yeah.
Um, and so that's what faith is for me. And if we must be very specific, I'm part of the Christian faith.
Okay.
That's what I subscribe to.
Okay. Okay. So now that I know what faith play in each of you, if in each of your lives, right, as like in society as a whole, what's your view? What role is faith playing in the modern world right now? Is like, as I said, like we live in a society these days. Like it seems like sometimes we are talking past each other. We are not listening to one another. So there's so many division. It seems to be so many division and noise. What role you think is faith currently playing in our current society? Sam, I'll start with you, and I'll go to Peterson.
Tell me more when you say division and noise. What are you referring to?
Well, okay, we just had like in America here, right? We just had a contentious election, right? It's like it was very heated and things like that. It's like you see there was so much anger, people going at each other, right? In those times, right? Let's say like what role is does faith has to play in that, right? It's like seems to be as I said, like it's like division, noise. I mean, social media, people going at each other. You know, what role you think faith can play? What role is faith currently playing out? I mean, in our society?
Well, I mean, the particular situation you reference. I mean, I don't know what impact fit had in
Mm,
that situation,
okay.
but generally and historically, faith, and when I say faith, I like to just say Muslim faith and the Islamic faith and the Christian faith has been very, because you have the Muslim, Christian, you have Buddhism, and what else is there? The four largest ones, big
Okay.
ones. Hinduism. Those faith, have been very, very important.
Okay.
And historically, the Christian faith and the Muslim faith, they have mitigated into wars. They have
Okay.
helped settle wars. They have, brought peace, restored peace over time historically. And so, also, I think that the approach that a person makes when they're angry, some of the decisions that they make when they're angry, some of the things that they use to rationalize is all deeply rooted in their faith.
Okay.
So, faith has always played a role and always plays a role on how a person will act and how and decisions they will make. And historically, faith has also brought peace and restored peace to crisis.
Okay. Okay. Well, folks, welcome to the Inner Circle podcast. Our topic tonight is the role of faith in community building. Uh, my man, Taylor May, welcome from the great state of Iowa. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay.
What's up,
First, right
fellas?
now.
What's up,
What's up,
Taylor?
brother? It's been a while.
Yeah, man.
Man, you
Why,
do.
man? Everything iron, man. Yeah, man.
It's good to see you, my man. It's good to see you.
Me too,
That's
sir,
cool.
man.
You know the topic, a serious topic tonight when all the absentees are present.
Yeah. It's probably they say, yeah.
Yeah. I know.
They say
All
you
the
know
absentees
the
are
sound.
present.
You're wearing a big group for know the sound.
I'm telling you.
Anyway, Taylor May, right? Now that you have done the show, what role has faith played in your life, in your journey? What role has faith? Tonight we are talking about the role of faith in community building. What role has faith played in your life?
Come again, like my net was bad.
Okay, yeah, I said tonight our topic on the discussion is the role of faith in community building. What role has faith played in your life?
Really.
You are the wrong place, so maybe you need to change your location and as like. But Titus, right? I will go to you. I was saying like in terms of the society, Sam said like faith has sometimes like whether Muslim or that's like a Christianity, right? That's like the media impedes and things like that. But from your vantage point, right, what role you think faith has played or is currently playing in society?
So if we're gonna speak on history, I don't, quite understand what history my brother is reading here. But
Yeah.
religion itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Religion itself is a derivative of violence.
Okay.
Religion. When you talk about Christianity, you're talking about the Muslim, the Europeans, the way they were able to get folks to buy into their belief system was
Yeah.
through violence, right? So
Mm-hmm.
history has shown us from the Crusades to like some of us grew up as Catholics, and
Okay.
you learn in the catechism class what is called. You learn about the history of religion, right? Different
Okay.
religion and denominations.
Yeah.
From the Crusades, from the war in Europe, in Central Europe. It's been warfare. Constantine and them use warfare,
Okay.
violence to bring folks into their belief system. So
Okay.
you cannot come here and say that religion, has a history of making peace. No,
Okay.
it's in fact the contrary. They started to capture and conquer and bring folks into their belief system with violence.
Okay.
So that's the first thing we want to put out there, and
Okay.
these are
Well,
history facts.
okay. Well, saying the man is debunking. That's like the man is saying right. Fake whether it's Christianity or whether it's Islam, Muslim, right? Is like it hasn't been about peace. It's been about media violence. and war. I mean, what do you have any response to that?
Well, but one thing I want to be clear about here is that
Mhm.
uh, the first war that was ever fought on Earth
Mhm.
was not the war of it was not brought to the earth by Christians, right,
Okay.
or Muslims, or Hinduisms and Hindus and all that, right?
Okay.
So let's be clear here that there are bad folks within good religions,
Okay.
right?
Mhm.
There are horrible people practicing Christianity.
Okay.
There are also horrible people who are practicing Islam,
Okay.
right? And
Mhm.
so forth and so on. So religion in itself is not bad because the essence of religion is to bring together people. But there are people in who are practicing religion who are bad, and they are using religion
Mm.
as a means or a scapegoat, as a means to do what they want to do or to make people do what they want them to do. It
Okay.
is true. But in itself, religion is not bad. The
Okay.
same argument can be made. Is gun bad, or is it the people who use guns to kill people?
Okay.
Do guns kill people or people kill people? Same
Okay.
argument
Okay.
that can be
Okay.
thrown on
No,
that.
we can't. No,
So
Okay.
we can't.
in a
Tell
nutshell,
us.
or
Tell us. Wait. Tell us. Mhm.
to conclude,
Yeah.
religion in itself is not bad.
Okay.
If you practice religion as a person along with your community and look at the impactation, the positive impactations that
Hmm.
it has brought to the community, you will understand that religion has done more. You're talking about war. What other
Okay.
things are there? List
Okay.
them more. List more of them.
We
Okay.
can't. Can
Tell us. Tell us.
I
Tell
get
us.
two
Tell us.
seconds.
Tell us. No. No. Wait. Let me give my mentor that made the opportunity, right? So first
No,
of
because
all,
when you talk about the history of religion, you cannot use that analogy.
Tell us. No, we shouldn't do that. Let's try to be. I know I'll
Very
give you
good.
guys the opportunity to a bit to whatever.
No,
But
because these are facts. You can't use.
Can you hear us now? Can you hear me? Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Tell me, are you good?
Yes, we can hear you clear. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so my question to you earlier was, what role has faith played in your life, in your journey?
Okay, I think for me, for instance, being an African, when you are growing up and say maybe you grew up with a house maybe of 10 people, maybe five.
Yeah.
So maybe you grew up in a house where your mother and your father, you see them go to church every Sunday. So as a child, sometimes you see that maybe if you choose not to go to church, your mother will cook the food on Sunday and decide not to give the entire house the food. Unless you decide to go to church, but when you come back from church, everybody eat their food. If you don't like it, that's part of, that um, upbringing and part of
Yeah.
discipline.
Yeah.
Unlike maybe on the other side of maybe somebody else, maybe another family.
Hmm.
You see that maybe what Sam was saying, I agree with Sam. You see, they said that maybe train up the child in the way that he should go, so that when that child gets old, he will never depart from it. So what the reason I side with Sam, what Sam is saying is true, because can you imagine if you have a child and you are not impacting such thing into them? Maybe say that child turned 18, then all of a sudden you say that, oh, you are forced to go to church with me today. You are starting war. Because that child is not you. You are starting war with that child because from the beginning you didn't teach that child how to go to church, maybe Sunday school, Bible studies on Wednesday. So I see what Sam is saying. Sam is right. And then to piggyback off of what the other brother is saying too,
Yeah.
this war that we are talking about, most of the time, I'm not saying that you'll not find Christian fighting against Muslim though. But sometimes it's very hard. You see Muslim fighting. Now that even inside the Middle East now, you're seeing this all these Arab people, they are fighting against Arab people. You see sometimes Christian will be fighting against Christian. Because
Okay.
if you look at the two religions, most of the time you don't see Christian fighting against Muslim like that. Because
Yeah.
there's something inside the middle that causing some type of, I don't know whether it's some type of friction that maybe those two religions are not, they cannot just fight with one
Okay.
another. So you see that maybe them, unless you are seeing Asia, Asia is fighting against this Gaza and other places, they are bombing them. And maybe you see country like Iran want to come and help them. Then you see the America, okay, so you're attacking Asia, Iran, you're helping those people. Okay, I'm United States, I'm backing Asia as well. So you see those big forces will come together. And at the end of the day, Sam, back to what Sam said, peace is going to come.
Okay. Okay.
You understand what I'm
Peterson,
saying? So
yeah, Peterson, what spectrum do you fall in? What way, where do you come here?
why are
Is
you laughing?
religion is faith, right? Playing a role of a peacemaker in the world, or is like it's violence. It's faith, you know what I mean, in terms of violence or peace. Which one? Where do you fall?
Yeah, so before I choose sides, we have
Mm-hmm.
to understand what we're talking about when we say religion. Because when you talk about religion, it's
Yeah.
people who just like practice a certain type of rules. Now, that's different from like true Christianity, where you say,
Okay.
okay, these people, uh, they are people of peace, they practice this. But even going back to like the days of the Bible, we have people who were religious, like the
Mm-hmm.
Pharisees and the Sadducees. These are people who they're all about rules and
Yeah.
regulations. So when Tyler said like uh, people from the Western world or Europe, they came with violence to get people to believe into their system. These were people that's what they had. They had religion. They didn't have like true what you say like Christianity. They had their form of religion where they believe, okay, it's my way or no other way, like the
No other way.
Romans used to say. So with that, I believe that Christianity or true faith, it builds community more than it breaks it down, because uh, most of these wars and other things that start between people is a breakdown of a relationship. And when before that can happen, you need to go back to say, okay, what brings about these divisive ideas between people? How
Mm-hmm.
people come together, and two people that grow up together, how can they start to hate each other?
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, like, okay, what are the moral values in the world? Can you like actually take our faith and say, oh, there's somebody that is good. Once you are born, you are a good person. If you do not reference like what that morality comes from to say, okay, you have good building you, it has to be something that faith
Okay.
has to play a part in there.
Okay. Tell us though, why do you believe, right, that faith has played more division than unity? Why do you believe that, right? Exactly. Why do you think, or why do you believe faith has played a role of a kind of a divided society more than unity? Why do you believe that?
So thank you. So because besides the fact,
Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
there's the historicity behind religion. You just heard our brother say faith and how he attempted to purify Christianity, right?
Yeah. Okay.
The Muslim could do the
Mm-hmm.
same thing
Yeah.
because mind you, a Muslim could come here and say, "Hey, true Islam will build community, then it will divide, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And each side of the table will have that belief system and that
Yeah.
opinion,
Mm-hmm.
right? And that's totally fine. But the facts, one thing about facts, opinions cannot be facts, right? The facts about religion and faith, Christianity and Muslim is that it originated by warfare, conquer. You
Mm.
cannot take that fact and try to smear it down by, oh yeah, in every sect, in every group, there'll be bad people. No, it is a fact that people became a certain faith or became a part of a certain religious group due to conquest. Okay,
Okay.
conquest. Generals went to war, conquer these people, and force them to become what they are
Okay.
religiously. That's just a fact. You can't argue facts. Okay, then we leave that. We leave that history of it. We come down to let's come down to our modern times.
Okay.
Let's look at our community. Let's look at our environment.
Mm-hmm.
What right now, right? I'll mostly speak to maybe the Christianity faith,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
look within your community. Look within your African community, your Liberian community. See the churches and the different denominations. What empowerment are they bringing to our community? This is what I really want us to be sincere about. What economic empowerment are they bringing to the community? What
Okay.
political empowerment are they bringing to our community?
Okay.
These are substantial issues that I think we can look into. What is the church doing other than extracting money from the congregants
Sure.
and putting
Okay.
that into who knows what they're putting it into, instead of
Okay.
building schools, hospitals,
Okay.
establishing banks for the community? What is the
Hmm.
church doing? These
Okay.
are questions that I'm asking.
Okay.
You understand?
Sam, is a church okay? I mean, let's go to Christianity, right? Maybe that focus on that, and then maybe we'll dive into other religions, yeah, as we go along here. But to Tito's point, is the church doing anything to better society, or is the church not doing? Is the church not doing anything at all?
As I heard my brother speak about the church and limit the church to Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center, I wonder as to how many churches he is aware of, because as I sit here in my many years of existing on this earth, I can list so many things personally that the church, accomplishments in the community that the church have been able to accomplish. The church, let's start from Liberia. When we had war in Liberia, the church came through. Missionaries were sent from America and other parts of the world, Canada, and they went to Liberia and they did God's work. The church in South Africa, when they have the apartheid war, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop of South Africa at the time, he stepped up and he brought resolution to the apartheid crisis. He helped in Liberia. When you have Marco Pakara Francis, Archbishop, may so rest in peace. When we had war, he stepped up. The Catholic Church did something. The Catholic Church, matter of fact, had one of the largest relief aid in Liberia and around the world when it comes to crisis. The church is not limited to Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. You have pastors here,
Okay.
individuals here, and we want to discuss that. We can discuss that on another level. There are people, like I said before in my introductory statement, I said that the church have people who are bad, who are using the name of the church and religion to sway people into dark places and to steal from them. That is true. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not seeing it. But Tatas, there are churches out there that are building schools and feeding generations and impacting generations. I sitting out here today, I am a benefactor of the church.
Okay.
I have benefited from the church. My family benefited from the church generations before I came benefited from the church. So we know Peterson over there have benefited from the church. So even my brother over here, Cheddar May, when he was in Ghana, he would tell you he benefited from the church. So don't limit the church impactation to Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center, because I don't even see some of the churches that I am used to seeing. I don't see them.
Okay. To the middle, right? To Tato's point, you have, especially if we stick to Africa, you have pastors, men of God, right, having private jets, like living living some kind of a flamboyant life. Even when you're in America here, right? It's like some of these, non-denominational churches, right? I mean, it's like you have pastors that are multi-millionaires, and while they are flat, right, can't even go back to Africa, can even afford food. How do you reconcile that, right? I mean, it's like to Tyler's point, what impact is that having on people believe in the church?
Well, I think, to be honest, with that part, that is 1 billion times correct. 100%.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. If you have not read it yet, go and maybe title have not even landed with that word. The word is prosperity gospel. If you go look it up now.
Okay.
Prosperity gospel is the word. And I see where title is coming from. And also Psalm course. Let me go to Psalm just a little bit, and I'll come back to Titus.
Yeah.
Psalm is right because even me, I came to the United States here. I came on the Lutheran refugee program.
Okay.
I benefited from it. Not just me, my brother brought 12 family members in this country. And I showed that I was not the only person that came through this program. So all around the world, of course, there may be people, now maybe people are benefiting from churches. If you come to maybe food program, when some areas don't have food, churches also provide food. They are giving, food out to people. They are giving medication. They are raising funds as well. That's the good side of it.
Yeah.
Come back to Tatos. That is not lying. They have some people that are going around preaching this in the name of church and Jesus.
Yeah.
Don't forget, the Bible said that at the end time, you see a lot of false prophets. And there's a reason they say that you should know Bible for yourself too. Because can you imagine that some of these men of God that they are passing around, they will say that, okay, when they're having this thing called crusade, they will say that I need 50 people to line up to donate $5,000. When that 50 people come and line up, they will collect that $5,000. So now that they have Cash App will make it easy now. So you can't say that, oh, you want to escape. If you want to escape Cash App, they have somebody that have notebook to write your name inside the book. When that 50 people leave that collect that 5,000, they'll say that they need I need 40 people to come up again with $3,000. And as they're collecting down the list, they're going down the list, they will get down to maybe $1,000, $500. And that will come to people that have maybe $200 and $50. They will say that use small money. Don't think we are forgetting about you people. But make sure that the way that you give this $50, your blessing is going to be very small like that.
Mm-hmm.
Should be that God did not tell them to do that. God said that He loved cheerful givers. That's what the gospel said. God loves cheerful givers. So let me tell you, all that hymn, what Titus is saying, that's scam. God did not tell anybody to do that. So they are enriching themselves. There are people inside the church that cannot pay their own bills, that cannot feed themselves. And these people, they are scamming people. Let me just say, you know what? There's a guy told me, the guy said, look, he said, if you just decide to open church now, the way that you are gifted with talking like this, do you know that you can make a lot of money? I said, make a lot of money for where? Yeah. It's not to be church now. I said, no, God forbid. I said, I'm not going to do that. Are you mad? You want that God will sound thunder? Okay. So what Titus is saying, this prosperity gospel, imagine. Okay, if you're a man of God, pastor, why are you having 10 cars? Why are you having 55 bedrooms? Why some members inside the church cannot even pay light bills, but you are still collecting money from them? So Titus is not lying. The word, don't believe what I'm saying. It's called prosperity gospel. Go and look up prosperity gospel. You see that even that Benny Hinn family member, his younger cousin was the security guard to Benny Hinn. He's the one that snatched even on the big man like Benny Hinn. So we should not be fools by fools. You should know God for yourself, because what they are doing now, they are making this thing out of money. Because the easy way that they are just collecting money just like that. And some of these men of God, believe it or not, this thing called 8 hours. Uncle, they don't want to work.
Okay. Well, folks, tonight we are discussing the role of faith in community building. So you can contribute to the conversation by putting a comment in the chat, or you can call our number 952-594-5154. Do you believe the church or Islam or faith is a force for good in society, or is it causing some some issues? So, but Peterson, though, I'll come back to Ms. Hammer. I'll put her comment up back here, right? I mean, you go to let me see here. Don't go back here. You go to church, sometimes all day, right? Pastor will tell you to sow seed. The folks, to Peterson, to Taylor May's point, or to Tyler's point, right? Is that they'll be telling you to sow seed, I mean, do you think this is the right way to go about it, right? Is like, the whole sow seed thing, or do you think it should come willingly from church goers or church members?
Yes, so this is a part of religion, or since we're talking about Christianity in particular, this is a part of the church that breaks down community instead of building community, because we have those few people within the community, within their universal church, that have this belief, and it's all about greed and all about being self-centered and selfish. Everything is about them. So They
Yeah.
they are very manipulative. They manipulate their audience or the congregants to say, okay, sow your seed, and this will happen to you, and this will happen to you. And we are lazy people. We go to church or wherever you worship. You sit there, you listen to somebody sitting on the pulpit. He's saying something. You do not go into the word to verify. That's what I think when I said it said test all spirits. So sometimes the pastor or bishop or whatever they call themselves, they will say something and people are just soaking it in instead of going into the Bible or that book of the law yourself and trying to verify if this is true. We are so brainwash people, and they are good at it. A lot of them are really good at it. So they manipulate people into swindling them out of money. And this breaks down the community. It's not a way to build a community. So in that context, religion or faith breaks down the community instead of building it up because you're stealing from the people and you're not giving back enough. You just giving it up for yourself, and that's another angle to it.
Okay. Um, Sam, I will, before I go to titles just quickly, I'll come back to you. If the church is a force for good in society, it's a peace, it's it builds community. Like, immigrant communities, right? There's so many churches, right? There's so many, almost every black, right? I mean, everywhere, every immigrant community in this United States, you have a church of sometimes 5 people. If the church is meant to be a force for good in a community building, why can't it like maybe have one mega church where where the community can gather instead of having everyone has their own church.
The people in the church are humans.
Okay.
And like you have in every organization, you got people who don't want to work with other people. They will get up and go build their own thing. They will
Mm.
get up and go start their own thing because it's bringing money. You have those same people within the church. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, you don't have bananas worshiping in the church. You don't have monkeys worshiping in the church. You have human beings. The
Okay.
same human beings that are doing all of the things that they do out there, they're bringing those things in a church. And some of the reasons why and I'll answer your question, but some of it I want to touch on this quickly. Some of the
Mhm.
reasons why you see people are being carried away, people are being told to do certain things that they
Mhm.
really shouldn't be doing is
Mhm.
because of what Peterson said. Now go further because the Bible calls us to do that. The Bible says in 2 Timothy 2 verse 15, it says, study to show thyself approved. This
Okay.
is theology, right?
Mm.
So
Okay.
this religion, this Christianity is calling on its followers. It says, study to show thyself approved.
Mm.
So it is telling you that as a Christian following this religion, ensure that you are studying
Mm.
so that you can be aware of what we are doing here. But like Peterson said, there are folks who just come to church and just listen. There are lazy people in the church. Excuse me, there are stupid people in the church. Then there are smart people in the church.
Mm.
So some of the wise people will say, no, this is BS. I'm moving away. But now, to your point, or to your question, why do we have multiple churches opening here and there? It's happening because of greed.
Mm.
It's happening because of greed. If Peterson or if Titus is a pastor and I'm a pastor, I don't want to serve on Titus or I don't want to serve on Taylor May or UAB, and I feel like I can preach more than you, or if I
Mm.
feel I can convince 10 more followers than you can, I will
Mhm.
go ahead and open my church because
Okay.
I want to be called the head pastor. This is greed because these days we don't have, and it even happened before. Sometimes we don't have servants. We don't have servants of God. We
Okay.
have individuals who want to appear as leaders of God.
Okay.
They want to lead God's people in the direction that they want to. They don't want to serve God's people and serve them in a manner that they will all follow Christ. They want to lead them in a path that they want to. So this is a problem.
Is there a problem in the Christian faith? Yes. But to
Okay.
say that religion itself is a problem, this is where I differ. But I will
Okay.
agree with you. There is a problem with the faith, the practicing of it. Some of the theologies that we interpret,
Okay.
there are problems. I submit.
Okay. So Titus, Sam is saying, right, the division in the church or the problem with the church or the greed in the church is due to interpretations of followers of the what, of the faith, right? Or misinterpretation, however you call it. What will you say to that? Is it due? I mean, is it division due to the faith itself, or maybe the way folks are interpreting things?
Interpretation is a part of why there's division.
Okay.
And he also mentioned greed. You know,
Okay. Yeah.
those are all part of the factors
Yeah.
that make up, you know, the tearing down of communities. And
Okay.
when I begun here, I said, you know, in my own personal life, there has
Yeah.
been positive and negative.
Yeah.
However, the
Yeah.
negative aspect and observation of religion, not just the Christianity, but
Yeah.
we're on Christianity because, you know, this
Yeah.
is where we are, right?
Yeah.
But there has been more negative. There has been more tearing down of communities, and thankfully, this is the subject matter here tonight, right?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
does faith, religion build community?
Yeah.
Listen, when we talk about community here, we're not talking about one or two folks getting opportunity to travel or getting on scholarship or getting food. You know
Okay.
what I mean? You come here, you go to Liberia. We're talking about impacting society in a larger on a larger scale.
Mhm.
What impact is there? Our sister just asked the question there, man. You know, Miss Harmer just asked, "Oh, did they asking was sowing seed, sowing seed? We didn't see where the money going."
Yeah.
Economic empowerment, brother. You
Mhm.
know how much black people contribute to the church within a year? Do
Okay.
you know what that could do for the economic development of black people? You want to limit the conversation of Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center? We're talking about black people all over the world.
Okay.
Tithe offerings, right?
Mhm.
After they bring their 10% religiously in their offerings every Sunday, they now, when they want to start a business, when they want to start something to empower themselves economically, they have to go to the other race, right?
Mhm.
Who the other race that has red lines, right? That would not easily empower them in their institution. That might not approve them because of certain red lines that are there for people of color. But do you
Okay.
know how much black people contribute to the church on a yearly basis? You want to talk about and their opportunities? We're talking
We
about
going to
impact,
race
real
now?
impact in communities, bringing communities together. You cannot
Okay.
unite communities if you do not empower them.
Okay. Okay.
What are we talking about?
Okay. Interesting conversation tonight, folks. Interesting conversation. So tonight, folks, we are discussing the role of faith in community building. Does the church or Islam or Buddhism does it build community or does it destroy or tear down community? So you can contribute to the conversation by calling our number 952-594-5154 or putting a comment in the chat. Taylor made, Miss Hammer, one of our commenters said, folks are being like Christians as a whole, right? They are being lazy, right? They don't want to work. I mean, to your point about the prosperity gospel, right? Is that she's saying Christians are being lazy. They don't want to work. They believe whatever, right? Either a pastor tells them. Do you think that's the problem? Or can the church itself look at itself in the mirror and say, look, man, I mean, it's like, if we are followers of Christ, we should do what Christ did, or, and things like that. Or like, instead of saying folks are being lazy or they are not reading or they're not working.
The lady is not lying. And I tell you the reason why she's not lying, which she said that maybe they have been lazy. Can you imagine? I give you one example. If maybe I go to a man of God for prayers, I say, okay, man of God, can you pray for me? You say, yeah, in the mighty name of Jesus, I see vision that maybe you become a millionaire. I see 6 months from now, you become somebody. Oh, the Spirit is touching me. I'm telling me that. grab a bottle of water. Let me pray for you. Okay. Yeah, I'm saying all of these things to you. So mean that you as a person, you don't have a job. So they are just prophesying on you. And you will not decide to even get up to go a further application to get some type of job. You are sitting there and say that, okay, man of God is saying, okay, and I'm praying for you. Imagine, that man of God has said all these good things to you. You didn't give minute because you are a broke Christian. Picture maybe somebody like maybe Titus or Sam will come and say, man of God, I've just arrived. I have a Mercedes Benz for you outside. Do you think that that man of God is going to leave? Won't he leave praying for you and go and pray for that man that brought Mercedes Benz for him? He's going to do it. So she's not lying. So these are some of the things that we are going through, and piggyback to maybe those churches that we're talking about. I think maybe nowadays those churches, they need to preach on salvation now, because now they are not even preaching on salvation. All the information that they are giving people is because they are telling people what they want people to hear.
Okay.
So they are telling people what they want people to hear. So at the end of the day, you see that will say, oh, this man of God is good. This man of God is good. But then at the end of the day, a man of God who will tell them the truth, they will not like it. So they like people to lie to them. So that's what we are facing now in this world that we're living. So that lady is not lying.
Okay. Peterson, then how can we then, as a society, as a community, right, make faith, whether Christianity or Islam, to work for people, especially the common people, right? It's not exploiting them, it's not taking advantage of them. How can we, make sure that religion, whether Christianity or Islam, is working for the common people, it's working for those it's intended to work for, to serve?
Yeah, so in order for faith or religion to work for the community, we have to see, like, for Christianity in particular, we have, like the gentleman was saying, there are churches everywhere. But if you go into a community like immigrant community, if you have people of the Islamic faith, usually there's like one mosque, and then for Buddhists or Hindus, there'll be like one temple that they all gather to. So with that, they are more grounded in their faith. They have a common purpose. So we need to do the same thing on a larger community level when it comes to the immigrant community, to say, okay, how can the church, or how can whatever faith you practice, how can we contribute? How can we impact our community? How can we build instead of just extracting from the community? How can we build community centers? How can we have schools? If it's a Christian school, how can we have organizations or banks? I think on one of the last shows that we did, they were talking about how the Muslim community, they are taking over, because some places have their own banks where they will go and get loans because they have certain terms that they require, and those banks will be able to give them the loan to meet that requirement. So we should have the same thing to build in other communities and not divide, because especially when it comes to one faith, like Christianity, there's so many different denominations that this person is Lutheran, this one is Episcopalian, this one is Catholic, this one is this. But we all need to find a common ground and say, okay, this is how we can build up our community instead of dividing and having this sector here and little groups of people everywhere.
Okay, Sam. So Tada's argument is that the church, Christianity as a whole, right, it's taking more from the community than giving back to the community. There's no empowerment. It's not bringing it's taking more from the community than giving back to the community. The church as a whole.
Well, we will leave religion and focus on the church, because
The church.
That doesn't have much to put on religion, and doesn't has limited knowledge with religion itself, because he's way away from that very quickly. But we'll stick with the church.
The
Yeah.
church is a part of religion. What are you talking about?
But brother, you were speaking on religion, but then you later on
The
stopped
church is a
talking
part of
religion.
religion, but we've
You
been
brought it down to
focusing
the
on the
church.
church.
Matter of fact, there are
Don't
4,000.
limit the conversation, bro.
There are over 4,200 religions in the
Okay.
world,
And the church is a part of religion.
and frankly, the church it falls under Christianity. We have four big religions, right? But the fact that you just pull everything down to Brooklyn Park churches tells us that you are looking at just an area, and we'll stick with you. We'll work
You're
with you. It's
failing
okay.
at attempting to
We'll
limit
speak
the
with you, no
conversation to
problem. I will
Brooklyn.
remain flexible as I am. I'm flexible. We'll dive in the
Don't
thing.
limit the conversation. The church is
No,
a part
we
of
will
religion.
limit it because that's what you have done. But we
Okay.
won't go back and forth with that. We'll address the issue.
Okay.
Now, as my host is asking
I
me
gave you
about the
historical
church.
facts on religion
No,
earlier.
we'll
You
leave
told
that
me
because we started with that and you couldn't keep up. So we came down to the church. So we'll
Okay.
speak with the church. You left from religion to the church. Have you said one thing about Islam yet? Have you said anything about Buddhism?
In fact, I was the one who
Have you said
provided the
anything about
facts.
that? No, you have not.
I was the one who
So
provided the facts on
let's come down to
religion
Brooklyn Park
on
Church
the
because I can see that's where
historical
you are fixed
the
on. You are fixed
historical
on the
data
churches
of
in Brooklyn Park.
religion.
You are fixed on the churches in
Provided
Brooklyn Park.
misinformation.
I hope a pastor in Brooklyn Park did not steal from you because this is very personal. But it's okay. We'll address that. No, it's okay. We'll address that.
Here's the thing. Okay. Here's the thing, right? It's not there's nothing about we're talking about the church universally, right?
No, but it doesn't sound that way. It doesn't sound that way because we were making and on that note, let's not go there. Tatas is a brother. At the end of the day, this conversation will continue on some other tables. I will be him again. But here's the thing here, right?
There's no other conversation. Let's talk about the community.
No, we'll continue to have this conversation. A very interesting conversation, and we'll finish this one today. But we'll continue this conversation. We'll meet somewhere else. We'll continue this conversation. As a matter of fact, well, listen. When you look at the Catholic Church, right, which is and you talk about race. I don't know where you came from with that black and white thing, but we're not gonna go there either. We're talking about Christianity, then you went to race, but it's okay. Now, the Catholic Church, which is one of the largest, if not the largest church, that church has the Catholic Charities, right? Annually, you're asking what they give back annually? 107 billion is the operational budget. 100, go look it up. 107 billion.
Are they giving it back to the communities?
They are giving it back.
Giving to whom?
Charity work. Go do your research all over the world. Catholic charities. They are giving back. Lutheran social services from the Lutheran Church, right? Their annual budget for Lutheran social services. This is an organization under the Lutheran Church that's responsible for welfare. You know how much they're getting back? Not only in Africa, though. Not only in Africa. Yeah, in America, they have programs that they do here, right? Their budget, 208 billion.
Okay.
Go and look up these things. Okay. So you can't sit here and say the church. That's what I'm saying. When you're talking about church and you're talking about Brooklyn Park Church, I don't even know Brooklyn Park Church. I don't go there. So those churches, I'm not aware of them. But if we're talking about how pastors are using the gospel or Christianity to sip and exploit people, I will jump in there with you. That's another subject. And that's what it sounds like you want to stick on. Okay. And if that's what we're discussing, we can look at that. But you cannot sit on this huge platform tonight, this massive platform, and say that religion in itself is bad. Because we gave you the first 5 minutes and you couldn't even go there. You talk about war, you left something. Come on. To conclude.
You're exploring something else, bro.
To conclude. And like I said, this could be very personal for you. Okay. This will be very personal for you, but you will continue to confess. Your testimony will be heard tonight. Okay. And so these numbers I give, you can fact check them and come tell me I'm lying tonight. You can go ahead and check it out. Okay, but let me hold you there. Let me just hold you there, right? You just need to establish religious institutions, right? Let's come to our African community, right? Not only in America, but all over the world. At African non-denominational churches, are they contributing more
to society versus taking back? Are they taking? Are they taking? I mean, which way is the equation? Are they taking more versus giving back?
What do you mean non-denominational Christian? What we talking about?
Like okay, Tina May mentioned earlier, right? I mean, let's say, prosperity gospel people.
Yeah,
All
but
of
when you
these
say
churches are
non-denominational, then you're talking about ones that consider themselves to be, because remember now, right? Christianity is a religion, and
yeah,
Baptist, for example, is a denomination. So when you said non-denominational, right, then
yeah,
you're talking about churches that don't claim to be
yes,
a
yeah,
Baptist or
hmm,
Pentecostal or nothing. They don't
or
claim to any
Catholic, yeah,
denomination. They just call themselves Christians.
yeah.
Well, I tell you what, and sorry, you're asking if they give back to the community of to Africa
Yeah,
as a
which
whole.
yeah. Do they give? I mean, are they taking more from the
Well,
community versus giving back?
I don't have the data, but from what I know,
Yeah.
and how they operate,
Uh-huh.
I don't think they operate from any standpoint that empowers themselves to even be able to give back. They don't. They don't. Because mind you, some of these pastors that are even leading these churches, right? They have not achieved anything for themselves. They don't even know how to achieve anything for themselves. The only thing they know how to do is to exploit. They're good at that. That's what they've mastered. They understand exploitation more than theology. I have
Okay.
gone to some churches and I tell you, I walk out because the theology was bad.
Okay.
The theology was bad. And
Okay.
so I'm a person who, if you preach the wrong theology or the wrong gospel as a pastor, I will call you on the side and I will talk to you. I
Okay.
will do that because I'm no buffon. I will talk to
Okay.
you.
Okay. Tell me. You mentioned prosperity gospel earlier. You see that, as I said, right? Especially let me go to Nigeria. I mean, it's like, it seems to have a history there. You will see pastors having private jets, and that's the thing I'm trying to get at here, right? Having private jets, flying over the world, having everything. These non-denominational churches, are they giving back to the community or are they exploiting the community?
So to answer your question, they are not giving back. Oh. They are not giving back. How many times do you know that? Look, let me tell you. Let me just say something like this. Once they say that maybe in life you should learn how to know your limits. Beggars have no limit.
Okay.
So beggars have no limit. Somebody that begs you, they will beg you and send you down inside your grave till your money finish. At the end of the day, they will say that, but what AB has done for himself or maybe for anybody. Beggars have no limit. So you as a person who's a giver, you should know when to give. You should know. Do you know that sometimes these things have just attacked everybody? Know that maybe even Titus, UAB, what's the other guy named? Tam and the rest of them. Do you know that sometimes you'll be inside church, I'm sitting next to UAB, and they will say that, oh, somebody should sow seed maybe for $500. Even I don't have the $500 and I see AB wake up to go and put that $500. Do you know that is going to bother me? Even I don't have the money. That spirit going to come beside me because of guilt. And I will stand up and say that, man of God, I'll give $500 too. They are not giving back as compared to the way that people is giving them. That's the problem. They are not giving back. And that's causing major problem. Like I said, maybe from Genesis earlier, there are people inside the church that's struggling. There are people inside the church that don't have food to eat.
Yeah.
There are people inside the church that cannot pay their children's school fees. And these people are collecting this money and they are not giving back to people in the community. And they are collecting the money from the community. And that's where most of these problems coming from, because as a man of God, like Sam is saying, if it's true that you are somebody who's serving this God, that nobody is judging anybody, because if anybody said that somebody is judging pastor, then we are going to have a big problem. If that's the case, you should not be a man of God that you are scamming people, collecting money. Then you are saying people is discussing pastor. That's not what you are doing here. Don't put yourself in that position for us to discuss you.
Okay.
If you know that God did not call you, don't go inside people, stand there and start collecting money from people. And then when we talk, you said, oh, you see them, somebody is talking about man of God. Okay, why did you put yourself in that position in the first place? So Sam is not lying. What Sam and Titus, all these boys, they are saying, they are not lying. That prophetic gospel, go and look at it. They are enriching themselves. They are collecting money. They're buying 5, 6
And that's
cars.
happening
They have
everywhere.
businesses. Their children are enjoying from it. And this is a very uptown level of stealing from people. That's what they're doing. Because it's the easy way out. Very easy. As long as you can talk well. Like some say, you go and collect maybe 5 family members.
Okay.
And believe this though, you know that maybe even like me, if you do something even inside the church, maybe I'm connected to Sam, I'm connected to Titus, I'm connected to AB, and that other brother. Do you see that maybe how many people you have affected? That they are going to be happy that you did this to Sam. Will Sam be happy? If I'm a friend of Sam, will I be happy if you did this to Titus? No. So they don't know how to carry themselves. They're all over the place. That's why somebody posted, they said that you should know God for yourself. But I'm telling you, you should know God for yourself. Whatever that you do in this world, know God for yourself. Because if not, those people will enter your bank account, you will not even know. Now that they are targeting women. They are targeting women. Those beautiful women, they are targeting women because the more women they target, now the boys, we are going to follow them inside the church. So they are targeting women now. That's those people. That's the target. They are targeting women because they know when a lot of church has women, the boys going to follow them inside the church.
Okay.
You don't know.
Okay. Well, folks, so now we are discussing the role of faith in community building. This is a 1-hour show. It's been a great discussion, been a heated discussion. A lot of passion from both sides, and things like that. The argument is, from our man Titus, the church is taking more away from community versus giving back. Some may say,
right.
some may say, yeah, right. Some may say by quoting the Lutheran church and the Catholic church, they give more than take away. But Peterson, though, do you think, from your vantage point, then, do you think the church is giving, especially in our African churches, right? As I said, like it's like, we are Africans, we're African immigrants.
Ibi, to be clear, I did not say that. I did not say that the church is giving more than it is taking. I don't have the data on that.
Well, you quoted two numbers.
But we don't. I didn't give you how much it's taking, right?
Oh. But I did ask you that, though. I did ask you that, and you said we were giving back.
To be clear, no, you asked specifically about our African churches, and I told you I don't know how they're operating. I don't know what they do. So I told, but to be clear, I'm saying to you, and let me say this again. I'm saying tonight that because Titus said that the church is taking and not giving, and I've given an example of how the church is also giving. But how much are they taking? We don't know. But the church is doing something. I was listing impacts the church have been making, to be clear. All right? Okay.
Peterson, then same thing to you. Do you think, especially when we stick to our African, do you think the church is giving more in terms of community building versus taking away?
If it's giving more to the community?
Yeah.
The African church at large, that's a tough argument because to Sam's point earlier, even those who are leading these churches, they don't have like basically anything for themselves. So when they get that opportunity, and that's how greed works. If you take small, you're like, hey, this tastes good. I'm going to take more. I'm going to take more. I'm going to take more. So once they get into power, they want to exploit the people. And it's like we've been saying all night, our people, immigrant communities or back home, especially Africans, they have a lazy mindset. I'm sorry to say, because if somebody claims to be a man or woman of God, everybody just flock to that person. You don't see no evidence of whatever their power or whatever they say they can do. You don't see any evidence of it. But when somebody hears like, hey, there's this man or woman of God that can pray for you and this will happen, everybody go and they take their last cent and they carry it to that person. So they're exploiting the community, especially the African immigrant community. They take more than they give back, because these pastors or men or women of God, they just take, and they're not giving back comparable amount. They're not giving back the same thing. So they take more than they give to the community.
Okay. Well, folks, as I said, Yeah, go ahead, boy.
If that's the case, why is it that? Because the question that this host is asking you now, that was a yes or no question. I know maybe like something, maybe the data is not there. Why you? I hope that maybe your pastor is not watching this, or maybe your deacon is not watching you. You are afraid to say, don't mind. Yeah, you have run cross this stage fast with this. You don't want to be on the wrong side. Yes or no?
No, I answered the
No,
question
you did not.
correctly. I said
No, you did not.
they're taking back more than they're giving.
Uh-huh.
They're taking more than they're giving to the community.
Now your pastor have heard you now.
More.
You know, one thing, AB, one thing we got to consider here too, as I sit
Yeah.
here and reflect.
Yeah.
Culture has a whole lot to play.
Okay.
Culture in combination with Christianity, right? Because people are also bringing their culture into Christianity, right? Their own way of life, that they have combining it with what they are practicing as Christianity, right?
Okay.
And so we in the Liberian community, right? We have a complacent culture. We practice a lot of complacency, right? And this same complacency and this same kind of culture that we practice, we see it all around in other sectors of our lives. We see it in our politics, in our body politics, right? And also the way we get carried away and used. We get used by politicians, not only our pastors, right? It's a cultural thing. So it's not just Christianity, because we can sit down here and say education in itself is bad. And we can start to say all of these things about education as well. There are educated people who are taking advantage of people who are not so educated. So we can also make those kind of arguments. So it really boils down to a few things. It boils down to the fact that we are lazy. We don't like to fetch information for ourselves. We are complacent. We are folks who get carried away by little things. And so all of those things are factors that are affecting the people also within the church. You know, so it extends within the church. So you know, I just want us to also consider that cultural factor.
Yeah. Titus, do you agree with the argument that, cultural factors are seeping into, as some of the reasons, right, folks behave the way they behave, right? Maybe like Nigerian culture might, influence a Nigerian pastor to behave a certain way, or the followers of Christianity in Nigeria to do certain things. Do you believe in that? Do you agree?
But this is happening everywhere, right? Especially within the African communities, right? It's unfortunate that our brother tried to belittle the conversation to Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center. I don't know what he really knows about Brooklyn Park, Brooklyn Center.
No, but you brought this. You brought this. I was looking at this on a.
We're talking about faith, right? And then we brought it down to the church, universal,
Brooklyn Park,
right?
Your friends are talking about the
church universal.
Brooklyn Park before.
The Liberia that you mentioned earlier, right? And you know what Sim is doing now? It's called the Stockholm syndrome, right? Where oppressors blame the victims. You've been victimized, but we'll blame because you listen. You can do that. You can do this, and people are saying, "Know God for yourself." We know God for ourselves, but the reason we have these discussions, these conversations, is for the greater good of the society and the community. If we really reflect to Liberia, part of our civil war was largely based on a religious context, that kind of seep into tribalism. If you actually understand the conflict of Liberia, the 14 years plus, right, that we had, a certain tribe that was marginalized was connected to a certain religion. Again, I will continue to make my point here that religion historically, not just Christianity, as my brother attempted to limit the conversation to, religion historically, from the Europeans to the Arabic, the Muslims, the Christians, has an origin of warfare, period. Violence.
That's not a religion, my brother.
Okay. All right. So there's a tie in tribalism and religion.
Okay.
Okay, you see the Mandingos in Liberia, they're mostly tied to a certain religious group, which is the Muslim,
Okay.
and they owe their loyalty to that group, that religion. You'll always find that in any part of the world you go to, whether you're in Brooklyn Park, you're in Saudi Arabia, or you're in Liberia. But what I wanted to say here is, you know, the responsibility, the bigger responsibility
Mhm.
is on the leaders of these different religious groups, these faiths.
Okay.
Instead of sitting here and trying to blame the people, then what are you doing, bro? Let's break this thing down, right? There's over $2,000 that goes to, just from 2020, over $2,000 annually that goes to the church from Black families, right? There are more than,
Individually, I mean
in the
individually,
United States, just in the United States,
individually.
from Black households,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
There are more than 14, 15 million households, Black households in the United States. You do the math. Let's look on the other side of the coin. What can you point to as an economic growth, a standard solid economic empowerment for Black people?
Okay.
Black people as a nation, the Black nation in this country. What can you point to? Let's
Okay.
be honest with the conversation.
Well, you see,
Okay.
one thing you're doing tonight, and one thing
What
you're
can you
doing
point to?
tonight,
What has
one thing
the
you're doing
church
tonight, and you're being
established?
very good at
What
it.
has the church set up for the Black nation in this country to say, hey, there's a credit union for the black folks in this community. You can come here, you can get this, you can empower yourself, you can set up a business and whatever. What point to it? Let's
Okay.
educate one another and our audience.
Okay.
Well,
Sam,
one
so
thing you're
I'll
doing
give you
tonight,
a few minutes quick, and then we're gonna try to wrap this up. Go ahead.
one thing you're doing tonight, and you're being very good at it, is moving the goalposts, right? When we bring up an issue and try to stick with that and address that, you move to another point. So frankly, you have not discussed anything in detail here.
Okay.
If you follow, if anybody watches this, they will see you moving the goalposts. I brought up, you raised an issue. I brought to you some facts, and you moved the goalposts to somewhere else. And initially, you were the one who reduced us to Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. I said nothing about Brooklyn Park and Brooklyn Center. You were the one who did that. Now you are moving the goalposts elsewhere. You move it elsewhere. You move it elsewhere.
Okay.
And it's hard to keep following you. It's hard to keep following you because I want to discuss.
You're jumping all around, brother.
This thing for our people.
Settle down. Let's show our audience tonight hard facts.
I let you talk, Tatus.
Gentlemen, yeah.
I'm louder
Black
than you.
churches generate billions. You're right, Denny. You're very right.
So give me the time to talk.
Yeah.
So as I was saying,
yeah, go ahead.
Tonight, and I will conclude with this. Let this be my closing statement, right?
Yeah.
Because time is already fast spent.
Yeah.
Religion itself has no problems as you're discussing. We have over 4,200 religions. Some of them are regionally based, so they are not really listed worldwide, right? We have four known ones: the Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, and Hinduism. Those are the four well-known ones, right?
Okay.
What problems they are bringing to earth, you are yet to tell us. But I can tell you numerous of good that Christianity has brought and Islam has brought, right? And some of the people who are practicing these religions, be it Muslim or Christian, they are bad people. Bad people misusing religion as a scapegoat and monopolizing things, fooling people and using people and exploiting people. And for what you are saying, they are doing it here in every sector of our communities. Now, the white church, which is also a church, when it comes to worth, they have worth. Are they doing great? Of course they are. They are doing great. But you're talking about black church. It's a culture. And I brought that to play. I told you the culture of the black people is affecting Christianity in a way that we are seeing.
To black church.
The black church, you're the one who brought race. And when you look at the white church and see how they are prospering, it's different from the way we are prospering and the way we're practicing.
Okay, guys. Okay.
So the culture too, when you look at this thing, and start
Okay.
moving goalposts tonight.
Okay, got it. Okay, thanks for contributing to the conversation, Sam. I see my man Taylor may going back, but Taylor, so we'll give you a last word, a closing statement. What message you want to leave our audience tonight in terms of, do you think, right? Is the church? I will just stick to the church because you're a church goer. Is the church contributing to community building, or is it taking more away again, right? Is it taking more away? What message you want from folks to take away from you tonight in terms of, or what can the church do, right? What role can the church play to just maybe like make folks to believe in them more?
Jump in a white church versus black church now.
You
John,
started that. You started
So
that. You brought race. I did.
Lord
man,
mercy.
Tell me, go ahead. Go ahead.
I will say this to you, to everybody. Thanks for having me, Mr.
Mm.
AB, Brother Sam, Titus, and Peterson.
Peterson.
Abi?
Yeah.
Yes. I will close up for me on my end by saying this. Like I said earlier, learn to know God for yourself. You see, this world that we're living in like this, it's a very dangerous time. If you don't believe it, even the book of Revelation state that when the end time is coming, you will see all these things happening. If you
Mm-hmm.
ask me, say, when the end time is coming, well,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So if you don't know God for yourself, you come across, maybe if you go to these churches
Mm-hmm.
that you know that maybe you don't have full money. Maybe you have to pay your children's school fee, and somebody tells you to come and sow seed that um 2 weeks from now that this is going to happen for you. And you know that this money that you have, though, I'm not saying that that work of faith, I believe it. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
no God for yourself. If you use that money that you have to use now to pay maybe the electricity bill, at the end of the day, you don't pay that bills. Now they can't cut light. That person not go put light on, no.
Okay.
So if you have to pay that bill, go and pay that bills. Learn to know God for yourself, because what these people have said from the beginning, that prosperity gospel is happening in this world. It's happening. In fact, that it's trickling down now. The African
Mm-hmm.
people, they are just starting to grasp to it now. Maybe for the past, maybe I don't know how many years, but it started from this order of our forefathers. They have started that problem. Now the African people, they are starting to grab to all these pastors and preachers. That they are everywhere. Somebody saying, why is it like, even imagine this state that I live in? Let me just go in this Iowa. You know that Iowa have almost 27 churches.
Okay.
27 Liberian churches in this Iowa. And some of the churches have just 3 members, maybe 7 members. Can you imagine? So if it's not because of tithe and offering, why is it everybody cannot? And I understand that maybe some people, they are coming from maybe Lutheran background, maybe
Tearing down the
Catholic background.
community.
Yeah, exactly. You see what I'm saying? A small place like this is because that thing called tithe and offering. So they will preach on it. Bring tithe, bring offering, bring tithe, bring offering. Malika said this, can say that. But when somebody pay money, when was the last time you give the money to Malika?
Okay. Okay. Great one. My man, tell me.
What's up, man?
Peterson, as we wrap up tonight, man, this conversation, as I said, that will go on all night. But what role you think, like, as your party message to our audience tonight, and you think what role like platforms like Inner Circle Podcast can play, right? Like to reintroduce, the moral compass, right? To encourage, the church, our community leaders, right? To become community, to become builders, right? To contribute to the fabric of the community rather than just, relying on tithes or sowing seeds.
Yeah, so thank you, gentlemen, and everybody that were in the comment section contributing. Thank you for a great show. For me, I want to say, in terms of religion, because we're using the words religion and faith interchangeably tonight, which they're not one and the same. But
Mm-hmm.
if we just say religion, which
Mm-hmm.
people come together, they have a set of belief and they have rituals and they all believe in something common. So for religions within our immigrant communities, we need to uh, have a purpose to say, okay, well, we came together, we all have a common belief, we come together for this purpose to build each other up and encourage people. It's not to exploit, it's not for one person to take from the community. or from the to take from the community more than they give. So for these different religions, it doesn't matter which religion it is. We need to all think about, okay, how can we build our community? How can we empower people? How can we
Sure.
have something for people who maybe they don't have enough? How can we
Okay.
support them? How can we encourage people to go ahead, and if it's school, how can we find jobs for people? How
Sure.
can we do this? So that's what the religious community have to do as for the community at large, so that we can build instead of breaking people down and exploiting them.
Okay. Thank you for that, Peterson. Titus, you have the last word tonight. What's the message you want to leave our audience? Seems like you're very, very much passionate about this topic tonight, and you and Sam want to go at it, but we'll give you guys, we'll let the two of you just come over here and just flow one day. But hey, go ahead, Titus. Go ahead.
Sam is my brother, and I appreciate
Yeah.
always, the
Yeah.
exchanges and conversation with him. Gentlemen, I appreciate all of you too, participating here tonight. Tilame, we miss you, bro. The flavor that and energy that you bring to the discussion, man, is so unique. Please,
It may be, it may be a regular song, especially
yeah,
like in the next
we
segment.
miss you, brother.
It may kind.
Absolutely, we miss you. But just a quick recap, right? What I want to leave here tonight is that, and thank God for this platform that we can come on here and have, these taboo conversations, because people don't really want to have these conversations within their setting, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But these are things that we need to address head on as a community.
Okay.
And you seem so passionate because Africa is involved, right?
Okay.
When we talk about, again, religion, there have been instances from the very beginning, and I keep giving these historical facts. Religion has been used to suppress African. When you look at the transatlantic slavery, Bible verses were used to let the African man know that I'm superior than you, that you're subordinate. It's in the scripture. But one thing I don't like to do is when I discuss, religious stuff, I don't like to quote scriptures because for some reason it doesn't sound, intellectual and empowering to me. But at the end of the day, in our setting, in our African setting, and all around the world, we have been at the disadvantageous part of the table with this religious stuff. And it's all been because it's been used as a belief system that we take on and we just believe, right? Whether it's benefiting us in whatever capacity, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, we're just there now because we just believe. Let's ask more questions. Let's become more skeptic. Let's become more practical, and most importantly, like everybody has been saying, establish a relationship with yourself and your higher being, whatever that may be for you, right? But we got to continue to have this conversation, Ed, because there has to be a group of people or platform that will call these hustlers to order. I'll leave it like that.
Well, folks, thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a great conversation here in the Cycle Podcast. We know we amplify voices, empower our communities, and elevate conversation like this, as you said, Titus. So thank you so much, gentlemen. It's been a great conversation. Tomorrow, we're going to be back here now. In a Cycle Podcast, we have 5 days a week. Monday is an entertainment segment. Yesterday was late. And then today is a normal discussion. Tomorrow, Wednesday, business segment. Thursday, normal discussion. And then Friday, the social segment, it'd be late, and stuff like that. So don't miss it, man. We are growing. Follow this community. Gentlemen, thank you so much, and see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much, folks. You guys have a good night.
In a circle podcast where hearts unite, sharing our truths, bringing hope to the light.